Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Before we get started today, one thing I just wanted to say was that Sam is running a Q&A session next Monday. So he did a little post yesterday asking for some questions. Make sure you get your questions in, give us something to answer so that we can help you guys out with whatever you're stuck with and push you that a little bit closer to making a recovery. So yeah, get your questions in for Sam and he'll go through all those next Monday. Okay, we'll give you a time later this week when he's going to do that. Now today what we're going to go through is a common question that we see people asking online, and it's about bed rest. So should you rest when you're in a lot of pain, and for how long should you rest? Well, the research is pretty clear on this, and the recommendation is that we should not really be using bed rest at all. Okay, so that's the researchers' advice is quite clear. They suggest that we shouldn't really be using bed rest too much at all. And the reason for this comes back to your circle of function. Okay, so if we get a bad episode of back pain or a flare up, our circle of function gets smaller. So the amount you can do day to day decreases. Okay, if we then rest in bed or on the sofa or whatever, if we're not staying active, our circle of function will stay small like that. It's not going to progressively get bigger and return back to normal. All right, it's just going to stay there, and then it's then harder to increase that circle long term. So we know that if you have a flare up or you're having an episode of back pain, if you just sit in bed and wait for it to go away, it's very likely to last a long time. Okay, and then recovery becomes very, very complicated and very difficult. Now, so that's the ideal scenario is no bed rest, just keep staying active, and then back pain typically for most people goes away between 2 to 6 weeks completely, with the biggest improvement in those first 2 weeks. So you hurt your back, you stay active without aggravating it, and you just progressively return to normal life. Nice and easy scenario. But we can't always achieve that perfect ideal scenario every single time. All right, sometimes the pain is just too intense, or it's on a really specific thing, like when we go from like just standing, for example, when you're trying to walk, like you're getting just shooting sharp intense pains, and the pain is actually really preventing you from moving around at all. So what do we do then? Okay, because that's something that we have patients ask us a lot, and it's something that we've seen people talk about online. So when the pain is really, really bad, what do we do then? All right, you know, in the past I've had patients who literally can only manage to just sit on the edge of their sofa or the chair or the bed and just do a few little gentle, you know, spinal movements, and that's it really. They can't get up, they can't walk around. So where do we then stand with regards to what's the research tell us to do in those instances? Okay, so sorry, just adjusting the screen there. So you know, what should we be doing when actually we can't get up and we can't move around and we can't keep things that normal? Well, we want to remain as active as possible. So whatever that means for you, we want to stay as active as possible, but without repetitively aggravating the pain. Because we know that if you just keep aggravating your back, then you're more likely to stay in pain. Okay, your circle of function is going to stay small because you just keep winding it up all the time. You're not going to allow that to recover and come back to its normal size. So in those instances when you're really struggling, just doing some of what my patients have done is a good place to start. So on the edge of your sofa, and you're just going to practice a bit of bending forward, backwards, left, right, maybe a little bit of rotation, just 6 basic spinal movements, and just try and do that without aggravating your pain. Just go as far as you can in your pain-free range, and then take a little bit of rest, and then do a few more. Okay, we want to make sure that, I mean, you can take those little rests in between working on that. You want to do a few rounds of them all, but provided that your goal is to work on improving your mobility and you're actively trying to do that with working through these exercises, then we don't have a problem with people, you know, having a little bit of rest. I mean, let's not forget that being in pain is hard work, right? It's seriously tiring. So my advice for my patients is always to try and get moving, do a few little exercise, see how you feel, and just keep doing that sort of every 20 minutes or so. You want to build it back up so that by the end of the day, you feel better than you did at the beginning of the day. Okay? Then you go to bed, you wake up, however you feel, you might be back to square one. You might be in just as much pain as you were the previous morning. That's all right. build yourself back up throughout that day. You just got to take it each day at a time and respect your circle of function. And let's not, we also mustn't forget that exercise is not the only tool you have. You know, we're talking about this like exercise is the only thing you can do. It's hugely helpful when you're having a flare-up. But, you know, you could do some exercises, and then when you're resting, you could go through one of our guided meditations, or you could be doing some breath manipulation. You know, those things are all going to help move you forward. They have a pain-killing effect. They calm your nervous system down. Just because you're not moving, it doesn't mean you have to just sit there. You know, you have other tools in your toolkit. And we believe that no matter how bad the pain is in a given moment, you can always do something to help yourself. You know, patients have said to me before, I just can't do anything. Well, maybe we can't do anything physical, but what else can we do that isn't physical? Can we do some mindfulness or some breath manipulation? You know, that is the essence of our program, of the spinal recovery program. It's about developing skills to manage your back pain yourself without being reliant on other people. And honestly, we 100% can empathize, because we've been there with our pain. It sucks. It's rubbish. It leaves you fed up, drained. But if we can just get a little bit of focus on what we need to do and just take that one positive step forwards, then we're making progress. All right, and that's something that doesn't have to be exercise. It's helpful. That's what the research says. We want to. The goal is always to try and get you up and moving back to normal life and increasing the size of that circle of function. But if you literally can't, then we need to think around that. Okay, gentle spinal movements on the edge of the bed is a good one, and working through our guided meditations, breath manipulation. If you can bear to stand in the shower, if you could do that, then you can do some cold exposure. You know, that's going to help as well, because the long-term goal for our patients, for our clients, is to be able to develop that sixth sense. You know, to feel when to rest and when to move, because you can't just never sit down. You can't just stay active 100% of the time. Like that's impractical, and you're probably gonna exceed your circle of function, and then you'll make it worse. That's not what you want. All right. But we also know that just sitting down is not going to be helpful. You've got to try and work on keeping life normal. All right. So even when we're resting, you don't have to just rest. There are many other things you can do to help yourself. All right. So yes, you can do a little bit of rest, but the goal is always to get up and get moving. So if the pain is really bad, we just want to find some really small little movements we can do in a pain-free way. Keep working on those and try and improve those, and then also use your other tools alongside that. All right. So that's it for today. I hope that is of some value to you guys. It's something that we do a lot with our patients and our online clients. So it's we feel that you can really benefit from implementing some of that stuff. That's it for today. I hope you guys got something from it. It was good. I'll be back with you guys as soon as I can. Have a great evening, and I'll see you all next time.